Welcome, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us on JN Binge. I'm so excited that you're here with us, that you took time out of your Friday to be with us.
Absolutely.
I'm Dan, and on this episode of JN Binge, we have Doc Quackenbush.
Hey, everybody. How's it going? I'm Doc Ryan Quackenbush, and what is this thing that I'm wearing?
This is a radiation suit.
Oh, perfect. Well, I guess we'll be ready. We'll be prepared for anything.
Yep.
Good. I'm a product manager here at JobNimbus, and I have responsibility for reporting, financials, and our subject of the day, automation. Super excited to be with you today. Huge, awesome subject that'll save you a bunch of time. This is where we save 8 hours per week as contractors with automations. So we're super excited to be with you today.
Yeah, I absolutely love automations. It is one of my favorite features up there with boards and the mobile app. It seriously is one of my favorite features, and I love talking about it and helping people save time.
Absolutely. And many of us aren't using automation today, and that's okay. Or maybe you've been using it lightly. That's okay too, because the future isn't written. It can be changed, Marty. So we're going to learn a little bit more about automation today. Let me take you through a simple overview of an automation, and then we're going to dive into some examples that we have built. And then I will walk through personally an example in detail of how to start a job, mobilize your team after materials have been delivered. It'll be an example that will help you figure out other automations for your business. So let's jump in. First thing that we need to do, an automation is like a personal digital assistant. And this assistant is going to do things for you as you set some conditions for them to look out for. So let's jump in and take a look at our automations. I'm going to add a rule here. I'm in settings under automation, add a rule. First part of an automation is the trigger. This is the thing that we want our assistant to look out for. Perhaps that's moving the card on a board. But the thing is, we're moving cards on boards all day. And so we need to be really specific about when we want that automation to trigger. And that's when we're going to add some conditions. And then the third thing we're going to do is we're going to add an action. And that is what we want our assistant to actually go and do. So that is the basics of an automation. Let's look at what different types of automations we have. And again, we'll give you some examples. We have two different trigger types. One is event-based and the other is time-based. Event-based automations tell your assistant to go and do something right now. And a time-based automation tells your assistant to do something either before or after the specific conditions are met. So super useful, and we'll see examples of both of those in just a second. The second thing that we're going to look at are the conditions. There are different conditions based on status, based on the sales rep, based on subcontractor work or location. And there are many different specifications you can put on into conditions, and we'll show you examples here in just a moment. Actions, there are two main actions that we use. First one is creating a task, and second one is sending an email. If you're really interested in learning about a webhook, they can be super useful, mostly for our third-party integrations. We have some awesome resources that we'll be sharing out here at the end. Feel free to dive in and take a look. Today, we're going to talk mostly about creating tasks and sending emails. Huge, huge helps.
Gee, Doc, that's a lot.
But you know what? We're going to do this together. Let's go through some examples.
Awesome. Now, as we're here in our account, you notice that we have a lot of automations, but that's because we like JobNimbus doing the work for us. I'm just going to point out some of my favorite automations here, such as this cold leads. Now, this cold leads, if we pull it up here, I'm going to dive right in. You see that it is a time-based automation, which means it tells our assistant to do something a set time after our conditions are met, such as here it says 7 days after a contact has been updated. So if it hasn't been updated at all within 7 days, and if the conditions are met, that is, if the contact is in the contact workflow, and if it is a lead status, it is going to create a task telling the sales rep, hey, reach out to this contact. Not only that, but that same task is also assigned to the sales manager to keep them in the loop. That's really good to keep really clear communication across all teams.
Super useful.
Another one of my favorites is we're going to come down here, a new client. Let's take a look at this one as well. So this is just a simple event-based automation that says when a contact is modified, but that modification is when it's moved into the inspection status. So only when it's moved into the inspection status will it send an email saying, hey, we look forward to meeting with you. Thanks for your business.
Awesome.
Another one right here that I find super useful because we don't have time to go through all of our contacts and figure out which ones are lost. We can let JobNimbus do that for us. So this is another time-based automation saying 2 weeks after the contact's been updated. So if there's been no work done at all in 2 weeks, if they haven't called in, you know what? They're probably lost. So if it's in the lead presentation inspection status, then we're going to change that status to lost.
Awesome. Super useful examples and many, many more that people can do.
Yes.
That's awesome. Why don't we go through a detailed example? And again, we can use the example of materials have been delivered and we want to mobilize our team. And we can get our digital assistant to do this. Should we do it?
Gee, Doc, I don't think we have enough roads to do that.
Where we're going, we don't need roads. Let's jump in. Okay, and we're back here in automation under settings. We're going to add a rule, and this is called materials delivered. I want to do 3 things when these materials are delivered. I want to, 1, communicate with my customer because we know that being communicative with our homeowners is the most important thing to getting a 5-star review and having a good experience. Super, super important. The other one, I want to create a task for our production manager to schedule the onsite. And then the third thing I want to do is I want to automate my board and change that status and move that contact card along that board. Let's automate our boards with this automation here. Okay, let's call it materials delivered. This is going to be an event-based automation, and we're going to say when a task type is completed, let's see here, when it is modified, when our task is modified, this is a materials delivered task, and we're going to specify the task conditions here. If this task is completed, so we're going to say if the task is completed is equal to true. When the task is completed, we're going to save it. Then we're going to add another condition, and we're going to specify the exact task type. If task type is equal to material delivery, I want to initiate this action. Now we're going to make sure that all these conditions are required. So let's sum up what this is going to do. It's going to say, okay, if my task type is equal to material delivery, and if it's true, then I want it to initiate my job. Let's go back and edit one small thing. Only want it if it's modified. We got those back. Sorry about that. There we go. So if the is completed is modified to true, and if the task type is material delivery, I switch those back and forth. We got it figured out. Now, what we want to do is when these conditions are met, we want to add a few different actions. First one, we're going to add that task for the production manager, and we're going to say schedule on site. I want this to happen within 12 hours of this task being completed. So I'm going to say the due date is 12 hours from when this workflow rule is triggered. And I'm going to assign it to Charles Schnell, who is our production manager. Let's save that. Now my second condition, I want to send that email to our customer. So I'm going to say send email. Now we already have an email created in our email templates that is a materials delivered email designed for our customers. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to select our materials delivered email. And our recipient is going to be the related contacts. Alrighty, and then the third thing I want to do is automate my board. I'm going to say add action. I'm going to change the status of the parent contact. And I'm going to change that status now to, this is a customer type, and we're going to change the status to in progress. Boom, so it's going to move that card along the board. This automation is now, when the materials task type is marked as completed, it's going to initiate a bunch of work, and that digital assistant is doing all the heavy lifting for me. I don't even have to think about it.
I love that. I seriously love automations. They really help out, save me so much time, and just want you to know that your future is whatever you make it, so make it a good one. Now, absolutely. If you want other resources, we have so many other resources to help you level up in your business. We're still doing this Jay and Binge. In actually 2 weeks, we're going to have another episode where you get to meet with our CEO, Ben. And Ben Hodson will run through what's been happening in JobNimbus, give you an insight into what's coming down the road. So you want to be there. You want to show up and meet with our CEO. I'm telling you, you do. He is amazing. Now, if you're in the app, the web app, and you want more resources, we have amazing buttons right here, little icons. You'll notice that a question mark, once you click on it, it'll give you notifications, it'll give you announcements, let you know new things that have happened, new features that are coming out or have come out. So, and all those will give you a level up in your business. If you want more training, we have that on our YouTube channel. Go to our YouTube channel, JobNimbus, and look up JobNimbus 101 webinars. And all of our previous webinars, all of our previous trainings are there. We also have articles. If you want to learn more about automations, all the ins and outs, you can go to our support center at support.jobnimbus.com, read all about automations. We also have a whole slew of recipes there for you. So you can just go in and look up our recipes and say, hey, this is what I want to do. We most likely have an automation that will help you with that. And if you need help, we have our support reps. You can give us a call at that number. You can also click on the chat icon that's in the bottom right corner of the web app, or you can email us. So if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything. And we're here at JobNimbus. We're here to help you with that.
Absolutely.
So that right there wraps up our training portion. We are going to open it up to Q&A. We have 18 minutes. We kept it pretty close to 10 minutes for you.
Not too bad.
So go ahead and send in your questions. We will be monitoring both the chat and the Q&A. And like I said, it's first come, first serve. And any unanswered questions will go to our support team, and they are more than capable with helping you with those questions. So let's see what we have. See here. It seems only the owner. Okay, so in order to get to automations, you will need to be an admin on your in your account. Those can be managed in. Oh, did that again. Did that last week too. Those can be managed in your access profile. So you need to have admin access or access to settings in order to get to your automation. So it doesn't have to be just the owner, but an office administrator, someone with some type of admin access. If we look in here, this one has everything, but here it is, account settings. This is the access that you need in your access profile to be able to get to settings to build automations. See here. Oh, we have a lot of questions in our Q&A. This is awesome. I love this. If you change the spelling of a word that is part of a workflow for an automation, will you have to go back and change the spelling everywhere, or will it automatically switch? Oh, Veronica, that is a great troubleshooting question that I have never troubleshooted before. Tell you what, I'm going to keep track of this question. We are going to troubleshoot that with our support team and make sure that you get an answer today on that. Let's see here. Is there a way when sending the email to have our email address as the return address rather than at jobnimbusmail.com? Right now, there isn't a way, but I believe that is something that we have been working on.
Yeah, it's on the product team's radar. And after we get through some really high priority, exciting work that we're working on, no spoilers, then we'll be getting to email and switching that out. We know it's not the best experience right now, but we'll be getting to it.
So coming down the road, is there a way to set up an automation to change the person assigned to tasks associated with a job when you change the salesperson? Ooh, that is a great question.
The assignee.
So yeah, it would be. Right now there isn't really a trigger for sales rep, but product manager over automations.
I hear the feedback. Yeah, that's a great thought. I'll definitely take note of that and start digging into it.
See here, are you able to send a survey to customers via automation? That is actually something that I see a lot of people do, is send a survey in the end. That would be in event-based automation, or it could be an event-based automation when a contact is modified. And if they are, I'm just going to quickly build something out here. So if they are in the paid and closed, and if they've just barely been moved into the paid and closed, you can send out an email template that has a survey in it or a link to a survey. This is a great way to get that five-star review. You don't have to remember to send that as soon as they're paid and closed. Tell JobNimbus, hey, send this email out that has a link to our survey as soon as they're paid and closed.
Absolutely. A huge, really good best practice to do.
Yep. In fact, I don't know if we have one that I can show off, but that is basically how you build it.
Yeah, we showed a welcome email. It's just as important to have a thank you and a close email.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. Please review us.
Exactly.
Yep. See here, and I've also seen along those lines. I've also seen an automation where it was based. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was based off of a custom field in a contact that if they gave a lower than 5-star review, then it sent out another email saying, hey, what could we do? Or it created a task.
Makes sense.
For the sales manager to contact them, say, hey, what can we do to make this a 5-star review?
Love that. Yeah. We even have an automation in here. You may have seen it as we were scrolling about an angry customer.
Yes, that one is great. So yeah, that's also based off of a custom field that if it's marked as an angry customer, to get the manager involved. So
not a bad idea.
Nope, not at all. Let's see here. Next one. I missed the first few minutes. So if you missed any part of this, don't worry. A replay will go out to you. Also, I'm going to be putting this on YouTube today. So you can take a look at our JobNimbus channel and look in the JobNimbus 101 webinars, and you'll find this. Let's see, and the question in this is, I have an automation created for a task to be created and set for modified, but it creates a task anytime the job is edited in any form it seems. Okay, so that one, this is a great troubleshooting. So that one, you need to make sure that your conditions are specific. You need to specify those conditions, and you see this little only if modified checkbox. You want to make sure that the condition that you want to trigger the automation, that is set to only if modified. Like the one that we set down here. I got to find it. Materials delivered. This is a great example. So because this condition is set to run only if modified, right there, this automation will only trigger if the task is marked complete. So you got to make sure that those conditions are specific.
Definitely.
Can you create a recurring calendar event using automations? So that one is something that I know we can't really do. But if you, the workaround is if you sync with Google Calendars, you can create an automation that will go to Google Calendars, and then from Google Calendar, you create a recurring event.
Yeah, and that's good feedback for me to take back to the team and think about. Mm-hmm. We've heard that before.
See here. Is it possible to set up an automation so when we move through a workflow, different forms can be added to the file in separate stages? Right now, I don't think that is.
Different forms.
So I mean, like the checklists. Am I correct?
Okay.
I can't even find the forms right here. These, right? If you can let me know in chat or in here, we're talking about these forms, right? We'll come back to that.
Okay.
When
that's a good question.
When a task is assigned to 2 people, is there a way to get a notification when one of the assignees completes the task? With that, you can create an automation to, that's also where automations are amazing. You can create an automation to assign a task to 2 different people, and then create another automation for when that specific task type is marked complete, that it sends out an email to whoever is owned on that task. Whoever owns that task.
Yeah, these automations, you can series them in some really cool ways. We won't go too far into it, but this is a great example.
I've seen people create a task list. So as soon as a contact is moved into a specific status in the board, it creates a task list of different task types. And then when those task types are marked complete, then it creates other tasks or sends out emails or moves a contact along the board. You can really chain these together.
Yeah, it can be as simple or as complex as you want. That digital assistant can do simple tasks or really complex things too.
Yeah, kind of like in a video game where you get your combo moves.
Yeah,
got
it. Yeah. Exactly.
Let's see. Does automation have access to forms?
Today, it does not have access to forms.
But I have heard I have heard your team talk about that.
Yeah.
When I go down there.
We have talked about it. Yeah. Nothing as of yet, but that's great feedback, Patrick.
Let's see. Can you review the webhook one more time? The webhook it's kind of complicated because it's not something that we can build in JobNimbus. It's more tied to our third-party integrations. One great third-party integration is SumoQuote. They use webhook. So you set up the integration with a SumoQuote, and then you take the webhook URL from SumoQuote and you put it in the automation. If we go here to add action and then webhook and continue, you'll notice that we have a webhook URL. That is something you have to get outside of JobNimbus and you put it in JobNimbus. So basically it'll say, hey, when this happens in JobNimbus, you can send information to this site or get information from this site and put it in JobNimbus. But that's really all as far as I can go into it because it is more tied closely to our third-party integrations.
Definitely. And we do have some support resources on that on support.jobnimbus.com. So that'll be a really good one to dig into. Can automation actions send out notifications or only emails? Only emails at this point. And more to come on that in the future.
But if your notifications are set up correctly, you will be notified when a task is created for you. So that does help. Okay, we got a lot of things here. Okay, coming through here, reading things. Might take me a second to get through all these. Can you walk me through setting up being able to send an email to new clients saying welcome message? That is something here. Let's go into our new client here. So this right here. This is our welcome email. Now it comes a bit later down the line. What I would suggest, if you want to create a welcome email that goes out as soon as a contact is created, have the trigger set to when a contact is created or modified. We can then edit this to be when the status is in lead. So this is as soon as a contact is created. We actually want to take this off right here because this right here says that only if this condition is modified. It will only run if they're moved into the lead. So we want to take that off. Now when a contact is created in the lead status or if they're modified and put into the lead status, because who knows, maybe you're in the inspection status when you create them and then you move them back into a lead. I don't know why you would do that, but that could happen.
Depends on your workflow.
Yeah. So as soon as they're created or modified in the lead status, then it'll send out an email saying, welcome to our family.
Absolutely.
We look forward to doing business with you. So that right there is the gist. And I believe we do have a recipe on our support center to help you with that. Where do I find past webinars again? On our YouTube channel. Go to YouTube, look up JobNimbus, open up our JobNimbus channel, and then find playlists. When you're in playlists, you'll see JobNimbus 101 webinars. Click on that, and we have 62, 63 webinars.
Awesome.
We've been doing this for a little while. We have a lot going over just about every single feature you can think of. And we've been redoing some, updating them. As you can see, making them more fun, hopefully.
Trying.
Hopefully to help you learn better and level up yourself and your business. Not on automations, that's fine. Can the calendar be modified to show only one sales rep's task? That is, so if you are, let me go to calendars. So the calendar can be modified right here if you're looking at the team members, and if you have full access, you'll see every single team members' calendars, and you can update that in the team members. So if I only want to look at Aaron's tasks, I can uncheck Charles Schnell, and here I only have Aaron's tasks. I can also come down here and I have access to all my subcontractors. So I can really zone in on one subcontractor's workload for the week. I can also update the task types. So if I have a whole bunch of different task types and I have materials delivery task type, I want to know when that material will be delivered. I can uncheck all of different task types except for material delivery and really know when all of my materials will be delivered.
Super helpful.
So hopefully that helps. Yes, the forms. Okay, so let's go back to that question real quick. Let's see. What was that question with the forms? Got to find it.
Was the one about forms being added in different stages?
Oh, yes, that was it. Thanks.
Question from Doug.
Yeah, right there. I was looking too far down.
Okay.
Is it possible to add a form at different stages of the workflow? Right now, it isn't. That isn't part of the automation build, but well, we can look into it. You'll have to. Blaine's in charge of forms, so maybe some collaborative work to see if there's a way to add the form in. Right now, my understanding is forms is built more for the mobile. So you can, as soon as you go out to the site, you can start filling out that form. But I can see other reasons to have forms and to add them into the contact to be filled out.
Yeah, absolutely. And if this is the first time you're hearing about forms or you're not on forms, go check it out. Super useful feature, especially for those on-site checklists or inspections. Can be really, really helpful for a sales script as well to make sure that process is in place and it's being followed. Super, super helpful feature.
It is. Let's see. Can everyone share some automation examples? Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, that's a good question.
That is a great question. Yeah, a lot of if you're just starting into automations, you might be looking at it being like, "Whoa, this is heavy, Doc." But it's really not. Once you get into it, and we here at JobNimbus, we have so many resources for you to help you know how to build automations, and those recipes in our support center at support.jobnimbus.com will help you run through scenarios. So if you have something like, hey, I want this to happen, we might have a recipe for that. And if we don't, and you need some help, call into our support reps, and they can help you figure out what automation you need.
Yeah,
we also have professional services in our CX department, and they can help you figure out what automations you need as well. So if you really need help building out all of your automations, give us a call and we can figure out if you need to go to professional services and they help you build out every single one of your automations.
And one small thought is, if there's a task that you keep doing over and over and you think, you know what, I'd like to automate this, that's a good time for you to think about, maybe I should check into an automation to see if that's possible.
Exactly.
And so it can be daunting when you think of all the things it can do, but just think about your daily flow. As you're working and you say, man, I wish I didn't have to send this email. Think, maybe I can automate that. Go check it out, and most likely you can.
Yep. So we have a few more minutes. I'm okay running a bit over. Are you okay?
Sure.
Hopefully you're okay with running a bit over. So let's go through a couple more of these questions. See if we can get as many done as we can. Can you set up an automation to send a reply letter after a phone call to a lead? So what I would suggest is create that phone call as a task. And then as soon as that task is marked complete, then it will fire an automation. Mm-hmm. Can I link the contact board to the job board when the deal or sales is closed? That is actually something that I've seen done. Not exactly, I think, what you're thinking of, but through an automation, you can have when a task is complete, when the sales is marked complete, then it can link both the contact to move the contact along the contact board and the job to move them along the job board, because I've seen the contacts board for jobs be new, sold, and closed. So it moved the contact from new to sold and move the job board from whatever it is to the next thing, or when a job is moved along the board, it can move the contact along the board, or the contact, when it is moved into sold, it moves the job to the next status. So there's different ways that you can use automations because they are super powerful.
Yeah, absolutely.
But link the boards together, so you see them on the same board. Right now, we're not able to do that. So I don't know exactly what you meant, if you meant either of those, but with automations, you can kind of link them together. So when you complete a task, it does something on both boards. How do we set up emails that we want to send to the leads or after estimates? So if you're sending the same email over and over again, you'll want to set it up in templates. And we have resources on our support center. We have previous webinars that go in depth with these templates, and we have our support reps. I'm not going to go too much into detail, but you can set it up here in your settings in templates and create add different template fields that pull information from your contact folders or your contact files and put them into your email. Can you set an automation to send only to the primary contact and not all related contacts? Right now, it is only all related contacts.
And you can unrelate those contacts too.
You can
in your contacts themselves.
Yeah. Love to be able to send form to customer. That is some great feedback. I'll send that over to Lane. And when we send an estimate, it generates a task to call back the next day.
Love that.
Okay. Is that a question you want to be able to send a task to call back next day?
I think Beth is answering the question that was asked before of what automations are you all using?
Yeah, that's a great automation. Yeah, that seriously is a great automation.
Yeah.
I'll get to that last one in a little bit. I want to look at over here. Okay. Is there a way to delay the automations from happening? Yes, that is through the time-based automations that we showed. So event-based automations happens right away. Time-based automations, it tells your assistant to wait a little bit. You can delay that. So if, like in the example I was showing before with the survey, you can make that as a time-based automation instead. So say as soon as they move into paid and closed, delay it for 60 days and then send out a review.
Or 60 days after your invoice has been sent, a collections email.
And also with the material delivery automation that we built, you can delay a task. So as soon as the automation triggered, the task was delayed 12 hours. So it only it showed up on the calendar 12 hours after the email was sent. So that is another way you can delay it. Will we be able to use the data collected from forms and work orders, estimates, etc.? That is also great feedback.
Yeah, really good.
I love that. Now I'll get that to Lane as well. So everything about forms, I'm going to compile all that, and I'm just going to bombard Lane, our product manager over forms, with it. So
he'll be happy to hear it.
Yeah, thank you all for your feedback with that. Last question that we have time for. You might have said this, but can we have a contract auto-generated from the template I have when an estimate is accepted? So this is not something that we covered. So right now we are unable to do that, to auto create a document from a template from automations. And that's mainly because automations, no, they're super powerful, but also, I'm sorry to say, they're kind of dumb. They don't know. If you say, hey, create a document, it doesn't know which document you want to create. So that's something that we might be able to look into.
It's good feedback. Appreciate it.
But right now it has no idea which document you want to create.
Definitely.
So there we go. That is all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us on our episode of Jay and Binge. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you were a bit entertained as we trained you. And Dr. Quackenbush, Ryan Quackenbush, yeah, after this webinar, I don't know. Are you still a doc after this webinar?
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. I hope to have you on again. Yeah. It was super fun to have you with us.
Thanks so much. It's been a pleasure. And thank you all.
Hope you all have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend. And I hope that JobNimbus is really taking you to that next level. See y'all next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks.